Hey, this is Paul Payton with Focal Splash, and just wanted to show a couple of things about this image and if you were going to change the background, what you would need to look for. First of all, what do I definitely see here is two different colors of light. We have light coming from this direction, which is white or blue from the window possibly. Top of her head right here is lit by outdoor light here. And the light coming from this direction is very yellow and orange, incandescent bulb of some kind. Lighting her foot here on this side, but not that side. You can see the transition right here. See, we know the light's coming right from this direction. You see blue light here, but yellow light here. So that light's coming right from this direction. You can see the shadow on her nose right here. So we see that light is coming from, I keep moving my mouse around hoping you can see it, but a better way to show you would be just to show you, right? So this orange light, wouldn't that be funny if I just said, all right, Alt and chose this color. This orange light is coming from this direction. And this blue light is coming mostly down like this. Right, coming down this way. It's kind of almost from the top, actually. It's almost more this direction, because you can actually see it right here. You see it right here. If it was coming from that way, you wouldn't barely see it there. So it's actually coming in. Look at the difference right here. It's coming down. So something like this. This light's coming from this direction, and this light's definitely coming. Whoops. That's silly, right? But the orange light's coming from over here. So just something you really need to look at when you're getting ready to cut a child out or cut a person out or something out. What color is the light and where is it coming from? So the next thing you would want to do after cutting her out, which I'm going to do this real quick with the quick select tool. And because of the background here, I'm making this real easy, right? I think maybe I'll cut that much of it, and I'll call it good, because I'm just going to make it I'm going to hit select and mask. Looks kind of neat. Maybe feather it a little bit, maybe a little bit more. Smooth it out just a little bit. I don't really know what this smart radius does. And then hit OK. Puts her up on her own layer. Alright, so she's cut out, and that was real easy. We can adjust anything we need to later, and once we put her in a composite. So here we have her cut out. Next thing we want to do is put her in a background. So let's see if I can find a background without showing everything and all kinds of stuff on my computer. Weddings and I have this composite resources folder and backgrounds. I have one called baby baskets. I have all these different possibilities. We're going to be looking for something like this. That's not a real baby. That's a doll. I have different clients who have different things going on. That's really cool though. She makes these baby dolls that look like babies, and they're used for therapy and stuff like that. What are we gonna do here? This is interesting. That's Rebecca Freely Kennedy. I don't think that's gonna work, but it's interesting. I'm going to use it anyway. I'm going to go nuts and use Rebecca Freel's background. Just drop it into Photoshop. Take this and hit the V for the move tool and drop this in here. See, that totally matches. It's totally perfect. Holding the shift key down after pressing Control T and just something like that, right? Put the baby in there. Let's spin the baby around. Do we want to spin her that way or this way? I'm thinking I'll spin her this way, right? Isn't that nice? And some compositors are done at that point. You might notice here a line. This happens in Photoshop, if you ever notice that. It's coming from the mask right there. So what you do, and there's lots of ways to do it, but I just take a brush, make it nice and big. Okay, not that big. And click here, tap there, and come over here and hold the shift key, and come back here and hold the shift key, and it draws a straight line. Okay. And it gets rid of it. I hit X accidentally. Why do I want it to draw a straight line? Because I have trouble drawing straight lines. Okay, there we go. Sometimes when I'm recording video, my computer has trouble drawing straight lines too. There we go. All right. So those little lines are gone. So what do we have here? We have this basket. We have this basket, and we have some light coming from this direction. You kind of see that. Maybe it's from here. Pretty flat light, which is great when you're compositing, but definitely it's darker on this side, and light are coming from that direction. So in that case, we're going to have to decide. I think she's going to look better. That light coming from the bottom. That's just that's the issue here. Let's do something here first. Let's go ahead and on her layer, I'm going to hit Filter and go to Camera Raw. Let's do something about this lighting. I'm going to hit Auto and see what happens. It took some of it away. So I'm going to take, you can turn all the light yellow and green. No, that's not what we're going to do. So go back to As Shot. Let's desaturate a little bit. So what we're doing is taking the oranges and making them less orange, and the blues and making them less blue, right? By desaturating a little bit. And in HSL here, we can, this is better in Lightroom, by the way, than in Photoshop. So people are like, hey, I use Lightroom, I use Photoshop. Lightroom gives you a little slider here. You can just pick this color and move it. But in this situation, we're going to have to say the oranges, we're going to desaturate the oranges a little bit, and then desaturate the blues a little bit. And that's working. I think that'll work. All right, now it's a lot better actually. Luminance of the blues, yeah. Bring them up a little bit. The little oranges, we'll bring them up a little bit. So now I don't see as much blue and orange on her. It's still there, but it's not so drastic. I'm going to hit OK on that. See, that's a little better. So now that we have that, we can go here and go to Edit. No, go to Image, Adjustments, and then Color Match. We're going to take this a step further. Put that about 50% fade because this color match really matches the color. And we're going to choose that as the document we're working on, and then use the background layer to match her to. And it just takes the colors from the surrounding and matches her to them. But okay, come on, please obey me, thank you. But do we really want her to look that color, or are we wanting about 75%? Just the hint of that. I'm thinking that's better. Okay, so we've matched her color-wise to this background a lot better. I'm really fond of 5x7, but in this situation, because of the roundness of it, I'm just going to go ahead and go with the square. I really, really, very rarely go with the square, but I'm just going to go with the square right now. So there we have that. And Control Z, or sorry, just Z, and I'm going to zoom in. I could have hit Command 0 and zoomed all the way in like that. Now, what do you see that's a problem? Well, she's a little blurrier than, more blurry than the background because we blew her up. So it'd be better to start off with a slightly better image. I'm sure we just pulled it off of Facebook, so that's what's going on there. So with that said, we just have to be right about this, and you're not going to be able to sharpen her up, so we need to blur the background to match her. So a little Gaussian blur on that. I think 1.9, you know, 1.5. Go with 1.5. Don't overdo it. All right, and then I don't like this blue on her head. I see the blue light still here, but this blue light here is not. It's just not attractive. So clicking there and then putting a hue and saturation layer and clipping it to only her, not the background. Using this, we'll grab this and touch that right there, and it says blues, and we'll desaturate that and actually move it to, let's move it this direction. Move it to red. Really, the truth is, put that back to 0, and we just need to desaturate it and darken it up maybe. I like that. Looking more like the baby's hair should look. We have to be careful about this other stuff that we're darkening. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and Control I, invert that layer mask and paint with white with the brush tool on here. Painting with the brush tool with white, and just paint it on right where I want it and not where I don't want it. So we've also taken the blue, and we didn't even look, but I know there's blue here, and we can just desaturate that blue, painting it away as much as we want. I don't really like the way that's looking. I've got another plan here. So we just go back to this. It's non-destructive. Go to the blues that we're playing with, and I'm going to say turn the blues towards pink. We can match up. I bring up the color a lot so we can see what colors we're messing with. Alright, and there's pink. So then bring that saturation back down. So now we're desaturating kind of a pinker color, a more pink color from the blue. I like that. If we go even further, it'll take that pink towards orange. Right? And you can see what it did here. So I'm going to create another hue and saturation layer. Just bring down the saturation like that. Invert it. Painting right here. I want to desaturate that. I don't need that to be anything other than white. Alright, and go ahead and clip it to her like that. The next thing I would like to do is below her we need a shadow. She is not there just hovering above that. She's casting a shadow on it. So one of the quick ways to make a shadow is to go ahead and select her, command and clicking on the mask. It would make whatever we're going to color, we're going to paint, it would paint out here as well. So if you use the lasso tool and then say use this tool, which is only select what's inside both the current selection and what I select. So anything outside of what I select won't be selected, and anything inside what I select won't be selected unless it's already selected. Bang. So now she's just the selection, and I'm going to paint with black. So over here I got purple. I'm going to hit D. That gets me to black, and then I'm going to hit, I'm going to just fill this selection in with black. So that is Alt or Option and Delete. So you can see there's some black behind her. So that selection's filled with black, so she's got black behind her now. And so I'm going to go ahead and Control D, get rid of that selection, and then Filter, Blur, and then Gaussian Blur, Gaussian, and click right here. Just, yeah, that's going to give you the edge of the black, and just hit like that and see what happens. What is going on here? Control Z, Z, cancel, Z. How did that happen? I must have hit something I shouldn't have. Well, that's lesson learned. So this is on its own layer. It's not part of that layer. I must have hit Control E or something and stamped them together. So go back to Gaussian blur. It's okay to make mistakes. You can have the Control Z or Control Option Z, some of my favorite key combinations. All right, so now we've got Gaussian blur. And click on this to find the edge. Just make that edge blurry, more blurry, and more blurry, and more blurry. I like that. And a little more blurry. Too much. Too little. So we're looking for a happy medium. I like that right there. And then see the light. We see light coming from both directions, but this is the most powerful light coming from this way. So there's not going to be as much of a shadow on this side. So that gives us this ability to, we can actually hit Control T, and holding the Shift key down, we can size it up in this direction. So now the black is a little bigger than she is, which a shadow would be. And we can move this to wherever we want the shadow to be. There's going to be a little shadow left on that side. Called contact shadow, right? You see it? If I take it away, you can see it goes away. So there's a little shadow there. But most of it we want on this other side. I'm going to use the arrow keys, because sometimes just dragging it around doesn't do what you want it to do. And up a little bit. And I'm liking that. Ooh, I'm liking that. But you're like, that's way too dark. That wouldn't be there. And maybe, maybe not. Hitting enter on that. And then drop the opacity. That's your friend too. Drop the opacity, something like that, which is only 90. So, okay, we look at it and we go, does the baby look like she's laying down there? Let's grab this again, Control T. I'm going to bring it back this way just a little bit. And then arrow key up, arrow key over, up, back down a little bit. I like it. Okay, now I'm going to bring down the opacity a little bit more, something like that. Okay, she's not perfectly laying there because it's a composite, but it's not too bad, is it? So there you have it. Lots of other stuff you can do. Try to sharpen her up a little bit. Maybe get rid of that one little shiny spot. You know, if we wanted to do that, I would hit J and go to the layer that she is on. We could create another layer to save it. Alt, clicking right here. Just click right here. And J blends things in. So click right here. Oh, that's sweet. What a sweetie. And I'm going to go ahead and do something crazy. Create a layer up here. And I'm going to paint with black. Paint with a black brush. And this is not something you do. Okay? Don't do this at home, folks. double click on here and only show that where certain darkness. Alright, I'm just playing actually. You don't even have to watch anymore. This is not really going to work. And then fade this. Yeah, it looks terrible. Like, what is he doing? Playing. If you play, you'll figure out what to do and what not to do. Yep, that looks totally terrible. Hitting OK on that. Going to create a layer mask. First of all, we're going to bring down the opacity on it. All I'm trying to do is darken her eyelashes. There's lots of ways to do it, but something like that. And then with the layer mask, B, use the brush tool, painting with black. We're going to remove it from here. I didn't really want it there. I'm going to put it back on her lips right there, and then remove it from here. Right? I'm going to remove it from here. We didn't really want to add it there. We don't want to add more to that line there, or this line here, or any of this, right? I just wanted to add it to the eyelids, maybe the nose here, and the lips here. Boy, is there 1,000 ways to do that, so don't even try doing it the way I just did it. But let's just turn it off and turn it on. I turn it off. Turn it on, turn it off, turn it on. Just added a little more contrast there to the eyes. I'm going to zoom in again here. I don't really like, I'm going to paint it away right here. Don't really like what it's doing right there. Just right there is good. Okay, so you've seen me play around, mess around. Didn't even need to do that. Some other things I would do to this image definitely, but I'm going to go ahead and deliver this to the client and see what she thinks. So if you have any questions about what I did, let me know. If you think that you wasted your time watching this, let me know that. So I'll stop making these videos. If you liked it, let me know that too, because I really appreciate knowing that somebody actually watched this and they liked it and they appreciate it. So you can find me at Focal Splash, both at Facebook and YouTube. Thank you.